Hey, Liam, do you like wearing masks at school?
No, because it makes me hot and steady. I don't really like the mask a lot because when it first came in the first day of school, and I was kind of worried that if I pulled down my mask I might get in trouble. And it's hard to hear people and stuff because you can't hear them by the mask because the mask covers their mouth by talking and stuff. And you can't really smell much either, and you gotta breathe and stuff.
I don't like masks because when I'm trying to sing in the musical that I'm in, it's hard for everyone to hear around me. No more masks.
How does it make you feel to have to wear a mask at school?
I really don't like it.
Why?
Because, to kids, COVID isn't as bad as it is to adults.
Yeah. So what do you think the schools should do about masks?
Make it so we don't have to wear them anymore.
And how would you feel if you didn't have to wear a mask anymore?
A lot better because I really miss getting to see somebody, my classmates' faces.
Yeah. So you think that the schools should do what?
Make it so we don't have to wear masks anymore.
Masks make it hard to hear teachers, but they also make it hard to breathe in rooms that don't have the best air conditioning. No more masks.
I just want to say the only reason why I think we shouldn't wear masks is because a lot of people at my school have been fighting over the masks, and a lot of people have been getting in trouble over masks, and that's why I think we should not be wearing masks at school anymore.
I think we should not wear a mask because it's making me have acne, and it's not making us speak louder.
Masks keep me from seeing my friends smile and makes it harder for other people to understand me with my speech impediment. No more masks.
Well, masks don't really help with socialization, because it kind of blocks the facial expressions, and that is incredibly important for socializing, especially around high school, because that's when you're making relationships. That's a good time to learn about relationships then, because it will be trouble later if you learn it a bit too late. My sister had to wear masks her whole life. Even though she was born in 2016, she was still a baby. And when she gets to her toddler age, she has to wear masks and stuff. And I don't think that would be good for many kids like her, because socializing at that age, at toddler age, is also very important. It's actually very, very crucial for socializing, because that's when you begin to learn how to make friends and stuff. And I remember it was especially hard for me without the mask when I was growing up. I didn't make friends till I was first grade. Most of my friends in kindergarten and stuff were just acquaintances or friendships that didn't last very long. I didn't really socialize that much.
Hi, my name is Olin. I go to Valley Oak Middle School, and I do not feel comfortable wearing a mask because I feel like it kind of hides individuality. I go to school and I don't see my friends' faces anymore. I don't see my friends' emotions, and I really think that it's kind of uncomfortable, and it doesn't do anything. So what's the point in wearing it?
I personally do not like any of the mask mandates that are being forced upon in our schools, as I've noticed, as well as many other of my fellow students or classmates have seen too, is that the masks have been actually causing more harm to us as we're trying to get through the school year. As we've been very tired, even just while having a little plastic sheet over our noses and our mouths. We have noticed that we've been getting very, very tired during classes and extremely after classes. Right after school, I would probably just go right to sleep and I would completely forget about my homework, other assignments, and maybe even sometimes tests or exams, and that could really be overwhelming and can cause huge anxiety within many other students as well as myself. I've had many overwhelming issues due to the mask policy.
Masks make me sad.
Just for accidentally sleeping in and then, oh no, I forgot an assignment and I need to turn it in by today or tomorrow, and it gets really overwhelming for me as well as many other of our classmates and students.
The pandemic is over. Stop masking us.
What up, everybody? How we doing? Happy Sunday evening. Welcome to Sunday Night Live with myself, Jimmy Malloy, and my beautiful bride, Marilyn. So, hello. Happy to have all of you with us. If you would, drop some comments so we can see who is here with us. We've seen several people already, right, Marilyn? Who do we have?
I don't
Marilyn.
know.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm alive.
How's it
I'm
going?
here.
Okay, good.
I'm reading the Facebook comments.
Gotcha. So, I mean, I see Pam's here, Paul's here, Gilbert and Evelyn are here on YouTube anyway. And that is great. On
Okay,
Facebook,
so
that's your domain.
I see Paul. Hi, Paul. I see Cindy. I see.
Hi, Cindy.
Tammy
Mello, what's up? Ray Dean's with us. Lori Messia looks like.
Lori Messia and Barbara Franklin.
Yes. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
Happy to have you guys with us on this fine Sunday evening. And I'm going to move this microphone over a little bit so we can hear, or you can hear hopefully a little bit better. Anyway, yeah, it's been a crazy week, hasn't it?
Yes.
It's been nuts. We were actually just talking while that intro video was going on, and I was like, wait a minute. This is the first live we've done since the governor made his announcement. We're just like, was that this week?
Oh, do people still listen to him?
Well, I think so. Okay.
I don't.
But anyway, this last Monday, there was a pretty significant announcement that was made. It actually surprised me because I didn't think that it was going to go that way at all.
I didn't either.
I know we talked about it. And
although it does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And it's not like we're, celebrating and saying we're going to go vote for this guy now. But, it is nice that they at least put a date on when the masks are coming off the kids. So that's helpful in one regard.
Yeah. I just think it's so cool how technology has come so far that they are able to predict that March 11th at midnight, masks will no longer be effective.
Right.
And that we can take them off and, our kids don't have to wear them anymore. That is just so cool that technology has come that far.
I'm sensing sarcasm from you.
Please.
Okay. All right. No, it is. It's nuts. And I mean, like we've been telling people all week is, if the 11th is a good enough date, then today's a good enough date. So, continue sending your kids to school without masks.
Yeah.
And, Monday was a pretty exciting day. It's crazy that was just Monday. It feels like it was a month ago to me. But, it was a great day. We saw a ton of pictures and videos and things of you guys sending your kids to school without masks. We were hearing about just all kinds of different schools that had collections of kids that were being excluded, a bunch of schools that the staff and they just said whatever. There was a whole bunch of variety of different responses on Monday. And then when the governor made his announcement, it was just kind of crazy because it seemed like all the momentum that we were gaining there just sort of died. And I don't know if people just continued to not wear masks or if they just said, well, we have a date, so we're gonna back up. And and just wait until that date comes or what. But it was just kind of weird because it seemed like things sort of went silent a little bit.
Yeah, because I think everybody, even though the name of our group is Unmasked Tulare County, we're not just talking about physical masks. We're talking about kind of unmasking the truth. You know, even when the masks come off of our kids, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And that's what I told Tulare Joint Union High School District on Thursday. I said, look, I said, our issues, the issues that are going on right now, it's much deeper than just the masks.
Yeah.
And you will still be seeing and hearing more of us.
There's a lot to still talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the masks were just what's the word I'm looking for?
Just the beginning.
It was just the beginning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're going to continue to.
We'll continue to fight, obviously. And I mean, one thing that we wanted to just reiterate to everybody is, we still need to be talking to our school boards.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened in that announcement was that, they left it open-ended and they said, we don't know what the future of this virus is going to look like. And so to me, that means that in 2 weeks, they might say, oh, there was an uptick. We're going to mask everybody back up. And so one of the things that I know a lot of you and a lot of us have been working on is making sure that these school districts pass resolutions or policies that basically say, look, like, this is it. We're not going back. We're done with this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. But before we really get into this kind of stuff, should we do a giveaway? Giveaway
This
time.
is like my most favorite part of this thing.
So this is hot off the press. I just picked these up on Friday. This is our new batch of Unmasked Tulare County window stickers. So I know a lot of you last week had said that you wanted to buy 5 or you wanted to buy, a couple or whatever. But we are going to be giving we're going to give one away tonight. We've been doing this. It is a fun little exercise.
I like it. I think it's fun.
So tonight's question, and just to throw the rules out there for certain people I won't name because I'm getting in trouble by naming certain people. But just kidding. So one guess per person, right? And I guess one per platform if you're on both Facebook and YouTube. But anyway, you get one guess, and this one's might be a little bit harder for those of you who, I guess there might be a couple of you who know us well enough to know this answer, but maybe not.
I think there might be.
You think?
Yeah.
So what's our question tonight?
Our question is, what state did Jimmy and I get married in?
Ooh, good question. So what state did Jimmy and I, what state did Marilyn and I get married in? Go ahead and start throwing your guesses out there, and we'll see what
I love seeing all the guesses.
Comes up. Yeah, the guesses
I
are
think
fun.
somebody, you know what? I think somebody knows.
Uh-oh. I'm not seeing any guesses. I don't think anybody knows. But the question is, what state? Oh, dang.
Yeah. I knew it. I just wrote your name down.
Oh.
Yes. Okay.
Sober. Put sober.
Radine.
That's hilarious. Radine, that's actually the best answer that that's hilarious. Well, you get a sticker too for that one. That's a hilarious answer. So what was the actual answer?
The answer is Oklahoma.
Yes, it is. So who was our winner?
Cindy. And I just wrote her name down. I said, I bet you Cindy knows.
Oh, how funny.
I said, watch, if you look on our notes, I put Cindy. Well, funny. They're not going to see all that.
I know, I'm just kidding.
We're going to talk about it in a minute.
All right, so Cindy, you were the correct answer on that one. We did get married in Oklahoma back in, what year was that? 2003. We got married in Oklahoma. We were out there attending Bible college, and that's where we got married. That's where our first son was born. And way back in 2003.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma. So congratulations to Cindy.
Let me see.
And
Paul knew.
Okay.
And then who guessed Florida? That's on YouTube. Somebody guessed Florida.
Oh yeah, Sadie.
And then Gilbert guessed Virginia.
Right on. Very good. So Cindy, you got the sticker for getting the right answer, and Radine, you got the sticker for most creative, hilarious answer. So great job on that. So we've got a couple of these setting aside for y'all, and notice the y'all. That's our Oklahoma coming back.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, fun times. So we got married in Oklahoma.
We did.
Now we'll move on into actual business. So we talked a little bit about wanting to keep our foot on the gas pedal when it comes to our school district specifically. And there's a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about tonight, not just exclusively for school boards, but we do want to just reiterate that this doesn't make everything go away. Like, this governor's announcement doesn't just say, okay, we're done forever with masks, and that's all that she wrote for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've seen that a little bit, even in like our activity online, and just the way people seem to be responding to this is a lot of folks are just like, okay, pressure's off. Like, we're done with this fight. And that's really not true. And one of the things is that they can, like I mentioned earlier, school districts or the governor or whoever could still, I guess, school districts could still implement these policies of masks themselves. They do have the right to be more strict than the state, just supposedly not less strict. They could, the governor or the state could decide to come back and say, you know what, the case numbers have gone up. We're going to just mask everybody back up again. So it is important, and I know I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but it is important that we still approach our school boards and say, hey, it's time to like put together a resolution, put together a policy that says, okay, this is the sunset on this. Like, we're not going to go back and forth. We're not going to say, okay, no masks on our kids this week, but possibly masks on our kids next week or next month. Like, we're not going to do that. And so there are plenty of examples. I think the number was up to 40, right? The last time I checked.
Last I heard it was 40.
So,
Paul would probably have.
Yeah, if anybody can correct that, if there are more, but we know of 40 school districts that have passed policies. And there was only, I want to say, like 29 before the governor's announcement. So school districts are still out there passing their own policies and resolutions and things along those lines. And I think that's really important.
And what does that prove?
What does it prove?
Mm-hmm.
It basically it would give a school district the ability to just say, you know what, we've followed all of your rules up until this point. We've done everything that you've asked us to do. And, this is it. Enough is enough.
Yeah. Well, to me, what I was trying to get at was that it proves that they're not going to lose their liability insurance. No district within the state of California that we have heard from and that has been checked has lost their liability insurance. No teacher has lost their credentials.
Right. Funding.
No school district has lost their funding.
Mm-hmm.
So they're out of excuses,
Yeah.
Like at this point, like you're not even the first district that's going to like go out on a limb and do this. Like you're out of excuses.
Yeah.
Like just do it.
Yeah. So
sorry.
No, you're good. And
And you know this, man.
And you know this. So, we did have a couple of meetings that happened this last week, right? Visalia Unified had their meeting. They actually had a special meeting. It wasn't a regularly scheduled meeting. They had a special meeting scheduled to talk about this very thing, this mask mandate issue. There was a resolution that was drafted and ready to be discussed. And I would welcome any comments that are in the either Facebook or YouTube from people who were there in Visalia. We weren't there because we actually had another Tulare board meeting the exact same night. But, there was a resolution that was discussed. It was a kind of a toothless resolution as far as I was concerned. I told Marilyn I thought it was a nothing burger because they basically just parroted whatever the governor said and left it wide open for the superintendent or anybody else to come in and put the masks back on our kids. So it was a really weak resolution that was put in there at the beginning. There was, from what I understand, there was some better, when they went into closed session, they actually removed some of the language that was extremely weak, which they, tightened it up a little bit. But I know that there was still some frustration with a lot of parents who were saying it's just not good enough. And so, Visalia is still fighting that battle a little bit. I know they have their regularly scheduled meeting this Tuesday. So, I would encourage everybody who's up for it to continue to plan to go to that. They are no longer requiring RSVPs at Visalia Unified, so you can just show up. You don't have to worry about signing up for your spot the day before and whatnot. You may want to get there early if you want a seat in the regular chambers. I know, and like Lori or Paul or somebody who's here from Visalia, I know that the plan is to introduce the new school superintendent on Tuesday. I personally think it would be great for a whole bunch of unmasked Tulare County folks to be there. If for no other reason, just to let them know that we're still around.
Yeah.
And we're not just backing off and saying goodbye because there's some sunset date on the masking of our kids. So I think it's important to stay engaged for several reasons, which we'll be talking about here. But I think Tuesday, there was a plan there. I know a lot of people were saying, let's get 500 people at the Visalia Unified School District meeting on Tuesday. It would be great if we could still get a large number of people there to show up and kind of let them know that we still demand that they do what they need to do and do the right things and say that that's the end.
Now, from my understanding, didn't the new resolution that they kind of edited was that basically that the superintendent can reimpose the mask mandate?
So that was language in the original, and what I was told was that was removed.
Oh,
that
okay.
language was removed. So again, and some of you Visalia folks who probably know that a lot better than I do could chime in and speak to exactly what happened. But what I was told was that language specifically was taken out. I still don't know that it had any teeth to it as far as saying this is it, that's the end. And I don't believe it addressed anything to do with the staff or the teachers. Did it? So who was commenting on that?
Crystal said yes, it was removed.
Okay, so Crystal, hello Crystal, by the way. Crystal or Lori or Paul or whoever may have been there can maybe also address whether or not anything was in there about teachers and staff, because I don't believe that there was. I think it was just about students. So, and what I mean by teachers and staff, I mean, I know that they'll be able to remove their masks, but things along the lines of testing, if you've not provided vaccination proof and things like that, that's something too that needs to be addressed as well.
Paul just commented, struck that language with consultation of the board.
And that language being the superintendent's authority to put masks back on the kids. So,
but if Newsom says to mask, they'll go along with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the case. And that's what we're talking about here is a lot of these districts are just going to continue to say, okay, whatever the state says, that's what we're going to do. And the pressure that we need to put on them now is to say, look, they've said that this is enough. We've seen the mental health issues. We've seen the fact that, celebrities and politicians go to the Super Bowl and break their own rules. We've seen like all of this stuff happening. Enough is enough. And the line is now. And that's what we need to press on them to do.
Yeah.
Is make sure that we're not going back. Right.
Exactly. It's like, we've played your game for 2 years after you told us it was going to be 2 weeks.
Right.
The masks are still on our kids. Tests have shown that our kids are significantly behind. They've actually changed the milestones on the CDC's website for different
like early
milestones. Yes,
yeah.
For early development. No more.
Mm-hmm.
No more. And we're not even asking to remove the masks off everybody. We're asking for it to be a choice.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. That should be something that you discuss between you and your doctor and your family, or pray about it, whatever. But that's a choice that should be made on your own terms, not something that's forced on everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, that's just my opinion.
No, and that's the pressure that we need to continue to apply. We had a meeting, like we said, the same night as the Visalia Unified. We live in the city of Tulare, for anybody who didn't know. And our local high school district, our city has separate high school district and elementary districts. So we have 2 different ones, which is kind of annoying, but That's the way it's set up. So anyway, the high school district had a meeting that night, and there was an agenda item to discuss a potential resolution regarding the masks. And so there were a number of us who showed up. Several people spoke, including some teenagers from the high school district, which was great. And it's always powerful when the kids speak. And whether they're teenagers or elementary, like when they go up and they speak, it's always more powerful than anything any of us adults can say. So that was great. But the conversation that came from it was really good. It was really focused around mental health, and unfortunately, just the state of our kids. It worked out sort of nicely. I think God set this up, that the immediate thing on the agenda in front of us in public comment was about an hour and a half long presentation from the various school psychologists and people at all the different schools in the district. And they were just talking about the tremendous uptick in kids that had to be seen for mental health issues, and just all of the different stuff that is going on that these kids are dealing with, and the fact that they're just overloaded and overwhelmed as a staff. And I mean, they're hiring people to help, like social workers and additional school psychologists and stuff, but they're just saying that the caseload is insane. So that really worked into the conversation that we wanted to have about the mental health of our kids, and the fact that we're not naive. We're not going to say it's all attributed to masking or anything like that, but masking certainly has not helped. And there are a lot of issues that have arisen from the continued masking of our kids, right? And a lot of it has to do with mental health. So we had that discussion. The board got to discuss it. I'm actually pretty hopeful about this. This board's a little weird because they had it as an information item, and they don't think they can do anything with an information item on an agenda where it's only an information item. So they actually scheduled a special meeting for this coming Thursday. So they're going to have a special meeting this Thursday in Tulare, and they'll have a resolution that will basically, hopefully, the way they were talking, a lot of the board members were saying, this needs to be our line in the sand. Like, we need to say we're not going backwards, which we were really excited to hear from them. We hope that they follow through with it. Plus, they were talking about needing to do something for the teachers, because the teachers who are still having to test because they're not vaccinated is not right. And we need to do something about that as well. So as soon as that that draft resolution is out there, we're anxious to scour that and see where they put it. But Thursday should be a pretty interesting special meeting. Especially, this is the first district that I'm aware of in the county that's going to be looking at potentially doing something with the testing policy for the teachers and staff. So I feel like that's kind of exciting. And I'm hoping that anybody who's in the Tulare Joint Union High School District, as far as teachers and staff, it would be great for them to show up and speak to that, or at least be there in support of something changing. So anyway, March 10th, which is the Thursday, is going to be the special meeting there in Tulare Joint Union, right?
Yes.
Cool. So that was all good. And I would encourage those of you who are in different districts, again, just keep the pressure on and be emailing your superintendents, be emailing the school board members. And one angle that I took that I think could be effective is talking about, I encouraged all of our school board members to walk the campuses on Monday, the 14th, which is going to be the first day in 2 years that kids are allowed to take the masks off. And my point on that is, there are going to be some kids, hopefully most of our kids, who are going to rip those masks off and be excited and be like, oh, I don't have to wear these stupid things anymore. And they're going to try to go on with their lives. But there's going to be a significant percentage of kids who will not take the mask off, who are scared to take the mask off, who've been programmed that if they take that mask off, they're going to kill grandma, or if there are other people who are taking the masks off, they're a danger to them. They've been programmed to protect themselves from other people. There's a ton of kids who wear it as a sense of security, as a sense of like being able to hide and not have to engage with their fellow peers. But there's all sorts of different things that are going to influence a large number of kids to not take the masks off, even though the rest of the free world has basically moved on from this. And that's a problem. Like, when we get there and we see this, it's a problem. And I feel like the 14th is really going to emphasize the fact that we have a bigger mental health problem with our kids than anybody probably realized. And we need to encourage all of our, teachers, staff members, principals, board members, superintendents, like we need to encourage them to watch that and look out for it, because, it's not just the kids who are getting straight Fs. It's not
Yeah.
just the kids who are not showing up at school. It's not just the kids who are having, home problems and all that kind of stuff. It's the kid who might be getting straight A's, but is scared to death to take that mask off her face. Or it's the kid who, is scared to death to interact with people, but she's, doing pretty well otherwise. And so there's all kinds of this stuff that's going on.
Or the young lady who has learned that like her identity is hiding behind a mask.
Yeah.
And really not showing the world who she really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've heard stories of, sophomores in high school saying, oh, my classmates have never seen my full face and I'm scared to death for them to see my full face. And, I look at that and I'm like, what? But that's reality for a lot of these kids. And it's scary. It's horrible.
And we need to make sure that if these districts pass these resolutions or policies, that they're informing all of the students of the new policy. Because how many of these districts are going to pass these, resolutions or policies and then just kind of hush it and not say anything?
Yeah.
And the kids are going to continue to wear masks, not knowing that they don't have to.
Right. And I think that's a big problem, because the language that came from the state technically says that they still strongly encourage and highly encourage the usage of wearing masks. So really those kids who are fearful, those kids who have allowed this to, or have had this become a part of their identity, those who are in that range, like if you still strongly encourage, if we still really encourage everybody to wear their masks and don't tell them, look, it's not protecting you anymore. For those who, like the Governor DeSantis video from last week, right? Where he just said it's all theater, it's a mirage.
He's like, you can take that off.
You can
like,
take
you don't
it
have
off.
to wear that.
I mean, I feel like, we're definitely about choice, right? But one of the concerns that I have is that people are going to, on a long-term basis, continue to wear them. And I mean, if they're educated and they're wanting to do it for healthy reasons, I mean, I don't know, I guess they can have their own choice, but I feel like our kids are having a long-term problem with the fact that they're going to continue to be encouraged by their districts and their schools to wear these things. And we feel like the encouragement needs to be, showing them, telling them that they don't have to anymore, that there's not going to be an added protection for them, that they need to be okay with being able to take these off, because that transition period is not going to be automatic for a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to find those kids where they are and bring them into where they need to be. So, hopefully I'm wrong. I hope that, 90% of the kids are just super stoked and they take them off and they're resilient and it's like nothing ever happened. But, I am concerned. We are pretty concerned about those kids who are going to have a hard time taking those things off. So anyway, I say all that just to say we need to be having those conversations with our boards. And if they think that all of this is just going away because the governor made an announcement, those kids who are in that situation we just described, no governor's announcement is going to change that for them. So it's going to take some time to work through that. So stay on them. Let's stay engaged.
Elizabeth said, I'm going to
put stickers with a happy face and hand them out. Nice.
That's for the kids awesome. That don't wear the mask. I think that's a great idea.
That is a great idea. A full maskless face, happy face, right? That's wonderful. Right on. So a lot of stuff has happened. And one of the things that we wanted to mention, just because we know, and this doesn't specifically go in with masks and vaccines or things along those lines, but it does go with healthcare for sure, is, a lot of you have been planning to go to the Visalia City Council meeting tomorrow night, because there was going to be an item on the agenda to discuss Planned Parenthood. And so for those who may not be aware, there was a real estate group who was going to be building a Planned Parenthood on Mooney in Visalia. There's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of opposition to this thing for quite a while. There was going to be a special meeting where people could come voice their concerns tomorrow night. It was going to be held at the convention center. And last week, this was what, Friday?
I believe so.
I think it was Friday that there was an announcement made that the the construction group that was behind this and they were going to be building it decided to back off and pull the plug on the project.
Yeah, they decided to.
They said they were no longer interested. So
Mm-hmm.
For those of us who are pro-life and did not want to Planned Parenthood in our Visalia neighborhood, that's fantastic news that they decided to pull the plug. So that's wonderful, and we're super excited. We know there was a protest on Thursday out at the site where about 50 people showed up, which is awesome. That's really good to see. I think that everybody out there doing that should be commended. I think there's probably more to the story of why they pulled the plug than just that. Just because I know developers who have millions of dollars on the line normally don't just pull the plug on major projects for 50 people protesting, but they did. So I know a lot of prayer went into that, a lot of letters, a lot of emails, a lot of protesting, like all of that stuff went into that, and now it's gone. Somebody asked if they're completely out or relocating. As far as we know, they're completely out. I mean, anything could be subject to change, but I don't believe there's been any announcement of like a different location or anything along those lines. So there is still a city council meeting tomorrow night. It will be at City Hall instead of at the convention center because they're probably not expecting thousands like they were. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And we got something going on with that. You want to
We do.
kind of explain it?
So,
oh, somebody just stole the thunder here.
Well, yes. Who said that? Oh, Paul said that. Yes. So, Paul wrote, Carrie is collecting thank you notes to send to the Orozco group if you would like to add to it. So Carrie Koenig, who is in this group, suggested to me and Jimmy that we collect thank you notes and send them to the real estate developer who decided to
withdraw the project.
To say we don't want any part of this. And we thought that was such a great idea. So we went to the store, we bought a bunch of thank you notes, and the church that we attend, which is Tulare Bethel Church, allowed us to set up a table in the back so that people at church, like after church was over, they could fill it out a thank you note. So anyways, right now we have close to 25.
Yeah, it was like 25-ish or so.
Filled out. But if anybody is interested in that, I think we're going to try to get them mailed out this week though, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're not going to wait like 3 weeks for people to get their thank you notes together. The idea is to gather as many of these thank you notes as possible and send them over to that group, because I'm sure they were getting a whole bunch of emails from you and from other people and from everybody who was opposed to this project. And we felt like when they make a good decision, we should acknowledge that good decision. And so when Carrie suggested that idea of having everybody do thank you notes, we were like, that's a phenomenal idea. It's really good, because so often we can focus on the negative and we can just move on to the next negative thing, the next fight, that we have. But when something good happens, we should acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And so, the Orozco group made the right decision here. And we felt like doing this is a really good thing. So, so we want to encourage you guys to do the same. And what we can do, if it's in the next few days, if you can get a thank you note together and get them to us, we can kind of put them in the same envelope and get them all going. But we'll also put an address out there for this Orozco group. And if you maybe you live in Porterville, you're in Exeter, and you don't want to drive into Tulare to deliver thank you notes, you can mail them yourself. But what we want to do is flood these guys in the next week or two, just with a positive reinforcement saying, you know what, Tulare County is not good with having Planned Parenthood in Visalia. And the fact that you made that decision, you made the right decision. We want to acknowledge that and send those things, right?
So huge kudos to Carrie Koenig for coming up with that idea.
Yeah, great idea.
That was a really, really, really good idea.
Yep.
So, and you know what, really, really quick on that. So we went to Walmart to find the thank you notes, and we bought a couple different styles and varieties so people could pick which one they liked and stuff. And we're trying to price things out. Like, okay, we want to get nice cards, but we don't want to spend a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
But and we're trying to like, budget because we're a, single income family right now. So anyways, we're trying to budget this, and we're trying to come up with, figure out which ones would be the best for pricing. We find the ones that we think would best suit, the situation, and they're within the price, our price range or whatever. We go up we go to the cashier, we go to pay for them, and every single pack that we had ended up being cheaper than what the price was marked.
And not just barely cheaper.
Like significantly.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, wow, that's just so amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was wonderful.
Totally a God thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was great. So we do have, and if anybody wants to, fill out cards, we do still have several thank you cards that are blank and ready. So, I mean, I don't know, we'll have to figure coordination out as far as getting those. It's going to be a busy upcoming week. So,
and we're going to talk about that right now.
We are going to talk about that here in a few minutes. So anyway, we have a lot of just craziness, right, going on in the world, obviously. And one of the things that we feel like we need to be focusing on, in addition to our local stuff, is some of the things that are going on in Sacramento, right? There are several bad bills that are happening in Sacramento, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do what I want to do. I was going to try to put something up on the screen, but I don't think that's going to work in this setting. But there are a lot of bad bills that are sitting there in Sacramento.
Is there something I can help you with?
No, not really. It's just the limitations of the system, I think.
Okay.
Lack
if it has anything to do with
maybe
with technology,
so
Paul.
Right. So there are a lot of bills that are sitting there in Sacramento right now, and I'm just going to read off like several of them. A lot of this is review for some of you guys. Most of you are great about like being up to date. You follow a lot of different pages and channels and groups and things, so you stay pretty well informed. But there are a lot of people who may not realize just what's being considered up in Sacramento right now. So Senate Bill 871 is one of the ones that is probably most talked about in our circles. And Senate Bill 871 would require all children from 0 to 17 to get the COVID vaccine to attend childcare or school. So this is the one that we've been, I don't want to say fearful of, but we've known it was going to be tried to be passed in Sacramento. This would basically mandate all school-age kids to take the COVID vaccine to be able to go to in-person school. One of the really bad things about this bill is it bypasses the existing law that would require a personal belief exemption to be allowed. So they would be taking that one away. This is a really, really bad bill that needs to go away. So I'm going to just read through these. I'm going to describe a little bit about what they are, and then I'm going to give a little bit of education, I guess, on how this works when it comes to Sacramento and how bills are passed, and then finally what we think our steps should be.
Before you read those, Kara Tackett just commented on Facebook and said, "I'm scared, guys." This isn't something to be scared of. It's well, first of all, it says in the Bible that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but also it's something that we need to be aware of. And it's something that if we put the pressure on our assemblymen and our senators, we have, I think, more power than we realize. But it is something that we need to be aware of. But I think in the past, we've been so consumed with what's going on in our lives and what we're doing and working and trying to manage a house and this, that, and the other, and keeping up with the Joneses, that a lot of this stuff has kind of gone by the wayside and we haven't been paying attention. And I'm guilty of that too. I'm not saying that it's, but now we are paying attention.
Yeah.
And this is where we draw the line in the sand and we say no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So, Kara, I just kind of want to encourage you. Don't let this scare you.
Yeah.
Let this kind of empower you. Like, and what Jimmy's going to talk about right now, I think this will help give you a hope, because there are things that we can do to push back against all of this.
Right.
So anyways.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, Kara, on being scared about this stuff. Like I understand it. And it's easy to say that, okay, don't be scared, don't be fearful, all of these things. It is scary. It really is. And, but there are things that can be done, which is what we're going to be doing. One of the ways we're going to be really emphasizing. I see Paul blowing up a bunch of links out here, which is fantastic.
And I'm sorry, Kara, I'm not trying to say, that your fear is.
Yeah, you're not trying to dismiss it.
No,
you're just trying to encourage.
I'm sorry.
I am.
And I hope that came across that way. So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was just trying to encourage you that, yeah.
Yeah. So while she's trying to encourage you,
right.
That's okay. While she's trying to encourage you, I'm going to scare you with these bills for just a second, but we'll pull it together. So SB 871, we just talked about. SB 876 would allow kids 12 to 17 to get the COVID vaccine without parental consent. If any of you have a 12-year-old, you can see how bad of an idea that is to allow any 12-year-old to make life-changing decisions. Any 17-year-old, 18-year-old, I always joke that I probably shouldn't have made any life-changing decisions except for marrying my wife until I was 30. So SB 1789 is out there, which would require schools to continue testing and create testing plans. SB 1018 would require online platforms to be more transparent about how information is pushed to consumers. So that's creating more control over Facebook and different things like that, which probably is not good. SB 1464 would force law enforcement officials to enforce public health orders. So, all those times where Public Health Agency of California said, hey, we're wanting to have this sort of mandate out there, and then local sheriffs and local police departments said, we're not enforcing that. This bill would require them to do that. So that's horrible as well. AB 1993 would require all employees, including independent contractors, to show proof of COVID-19 vaccine to work in California. AB 1797 would make changes to the California Immunization Record Database. AB 2098 would reclassify the sharing of COVID misinformation by doctors and surgeons as unprofessional conduct that would result in disciplinary action. So that last one is basically tightening up the strings on doctors to only do what is prescribed by the government as far as COVID-19 treatment, which would be horrible. So
the doctors would be controlled by
they would be even more controlled by whatever the state would classify as misinformation, right? So there's all of that going on. Now, let me speak to this for just a few minutes about the life cycle of a bill. Whenever a new Congress goes into session, right? Or this new Congress in California went into session on January 3rd. Many of us were up there at the Capitol the day that it went into session. There are certain timelines that any senator or any assemblyman has to be able to submit a new bill for consideration. So that timeline was like mid-February when they had to have their bills turned in order to be considered in this session. So that's why it seemed like there for a week or two, it was just like bam, 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 announcement of all these new bills, all these things that are going out there. So, I mean, it's not just health related stuff. It's not just things that are related to COVID, but any bill that anybody wants considered has to be submitted by a certain date. And that was in mid-February. So they just got hit with all of these bills. Once that happens, the bills don't automatically just get voted on by the entire assembly or the entire Senate. They go into different committees. So they decide, okay, this one belongs in the health committee. This one belongs in, transportation committee or finance committee or the judiciary committee or whatever. They have all these different committees. in the House and in the Senate. And so they decide which ones, belong in which committees. The committees are made up of smaller groups of people. There might be anything from 15 to like 50 committee members, depending on which one it is. And then those bills go into those smaller committees to be evaluated and fleshed out and all of that stuff. And then eventually what happens in those committees is that there's a vote among those committee members. So if there's 15 committee members, it's going to be those 15 committee members who will take a vote as to whether or not that bill is worthy of going before the entire Senate or the entire House. And so what we have and where we are right now is these bills are getting assigned into different committees. And it's a smaller setting. There's, like I said, only, anywhere from probably 15 to 50 people in those committees. And in my opinion, I think our best shot, our earliest shot at this is to try to kill these bills that are inside in the committees. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about is you guys, a lot of you have seen these links that you can click and send your opposition to SB 871, for example. We have a link on our campsite page that will allow you to do that. Right now, where these things are in committee, your local representative, like for us, our assemblyman is Devin Mathis, and our senator is Shannon Grove. And so, we can send stuff to Devin Mathis all we want to. If he's not in the committee that's like listening and deciding on these things right now, then he doesn't have he's probably not even really paying attention to these things right now because it hasn't come before the whole thing for a vote. And so, right now we feel like our emphasis should be on those people who are in the committees that are actually listening to these things. Paul, I'm pretty sure one of the links that you had just shared was for the actual California legislatures. There's a couple different ways that you can go about submitting a letter of opposition to these things. One of them is sort of an official channel where you register to submit your comments officially, but also just blasting emails to the people who are actually on the committees that are hearing these things would go a long way right now. And so I think it's important that and over the next couple of days or next few days, we're going to start putting things out there that will have a list of emails for some of these bills, the people who are hearing them in committee. And if we can blast these folks who are in the committee with a bunch of just opposition to these bills, I think it'll influence them when it comes to whether or not they pass them through committee.
Yeah.
So there is a process that these things go through. Right now they're in committee. And I don't want to discourage you from emailing your representatives. I'd never want to discourage that. What I'm saying is, in addition to that, we probably need to start emailing some people who are not our representatives, but are the ones who are hearing these things in their committees. Mm-hmm. So it's not instead of, it's a both, right? It's in addition to. And this is important because this is a statewide thing. And they're hearing from people on the other side about how important it is to do all these crazy things that they want done in California. And they definitely need to hear from us as well. So we're going to be working, follow us on our different social media channels. And once we get that info, we'll try to put together something on the website as well that will just give you a list of emails for some of these really bad bills, list of emails that we can go after them, like kind of a targeted campaign against the people who really need to hear from us about these bills. So that's important, and we'll get as much information out to you as quickly as we can here soon. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
We have a question.
Did I miss anything? We have a question.
Yeah. Do you guys know anything about the vaccine passport bill that had Devin Mathis listed as a co-author? Someone had shared a link earlier in the week, and it did appear that he was on it.
That's pretty much all I know about that, is that there was a bill that he was listed as a co-author. I don't know the details on that, except that it was a passport bill that would have just allowed, instead of people having to show physical papers, you could show digital papers instead. Obviously, we would be opposed to that just on principle. That's crazy. If anybody has reached out to Devin, I haven't. I've been busy on other things. But if anybody has reached out to him and gotten some explanation, that would be great. We will add that to the list of things that we're tracking and trying to figure out what's going on. So I have heard that. I've seen a handful of things going around about it. And it very well may be true. I haven't had a chance to fact check that one specifically. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Right on. So, Pam is saying that she has, and he defended it. So I'm assuming she means she reached out to Devin and he defended his co-authoring of that bill. So, those who would believe the same way we do, that that's not a good plan, should reach out to him and say, we don't like what you're doing there, Mr. Representative. And if you're representing us, then, you need to pay attention to what we like and what we don't like. So if that's the case, then probably reaching out to him would be a good plan.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So do we want screenshots? Sure. Yeah. Send them on over. Let's see what's been talked about. And Pam, have you put that in Telegram? I haven't been in that too much. I think that's where you normally share things like that. But if you don't mind, that would be a good thing to know as well. The other thing I want to say about bills in Sacramento is reach out to your local city councils, your local school boards, your county board of supervisors. The county board of supervisors this last week did pass sending letters of opposition as a county board to Sacramento, which I thought was a good thing, is a good step for them to take right now. But I think every level of government, whether it's a school board, whether it's a city council, we should be having these conversations with these folks that we know and saying, hey, these things are going to directly impact a school board. It's going to impact a school district. You should be taking up letters and sending up letters of opposition to our representatives in Sacramento about this stuff. So, I mean, it means a lot when individuals do this. It also means a lot when elected boards get together and they say, hey, this is a bad idea. This is going to hurt us. And so the more of those that we can get going up there, the better. So anyway, just be any of those people that you know on school boards, on city councils, on any sort of elected board, let's be encouraging them, sending them these bills, asking them to look into them and draft letters of opposition and doing it quickly. Like, let's not do this in 2 months. Let's do it now. So that's important.
It's very important.
A lot going on in Sacramento that needs to
not go on.
We need to put the kibosh on it, right? For sure. Wanted to just move on. We mentioned the Tulare High School Board special meeting that's happening on Thursday. So if you all are have some time on Thursday and would love to join us at this meeting, we're going to go in there and just communicate to them how important it is that they still pass a resolution, that they do something for our teachers and their staff, and as well, obviously, as students. But yeah, Thursday we'll have a time. I'm a little unclear on what time that's going to be. So as soon as we have that, we'll start blasting it out there. But just so you're aware of that, we also have an event on Tuesday, middle of the day.
Yes,
that'll be fairly exciting. Do you want to?
I can't keep my day straight. I don't know what's going on.
You want to let my voice rest and kind of introduce what that is a little bit?
So on Tuesday at Cafe 210 in Visalia, Anthony Trimino, who is running for governor of California, is going to be, or we're going to be like hosting an event, and it's it says Coffee with Trimino. Can we post that up there or no?
I can't post it there, but I can do this.
Oh, there you go.
How about that?
We've been trying to share it, but we're being shadow banned really bad. So
this is a flyer, and it's just a, Anthony Trimino. A lot of you probably know who he is. If you don't, he is a candidate for governor that's out of, I believe, Southern California, and very like-minded to us. And he's coming up for another event and he reached out to us through one of our members, Misha, and asked if we wanted to join him and host a kind of a town hall. Really, is what it's going to be.
Yeah,
if we're allowed to use that phrase, but it's going to kind of be a town hall in a coffee shop, just an intimate setting, where we can come in, ask questions, talk about solutions, all of those things. So I'm going to be co-hosting it, I guess, with him. And it's just going to be a good opportunity to talk about some stuff. So again, that's going to be Tuesday, March 8th at Cafe 210 or the 210 Cafe in Visalia. And it's going to go from 11 to 1. So just a 2-hour conversation. If you're on any of our social media, you're seeing that be plugged. We'll push it hard again tomorrow. And hopefully as many of you as can make it. I know it's middle of the day, so it's hard for working folk. But if you can make it, that would be great. We'd love to see you out there.
Yep.
Right. And the last thing is we have our Tulare County Freedom Rally coming up on the 19th. This one's going to be in Tulare at Zumwalt Park, which I'm excited about because that's our home city. So we're going to be getting ready to put on a good show out there. This last Freedom Rally was fantastic out at Mooney's Grove. We expect this one. We're just getting better at doing these. So, this one's going to be even better. It's going to be potluck style. If you didn't get an email about, I think Paul just put this in the comments, but we did send out a mass email to about 250 people. And if you're not on that list,
I don't think I'm on that list.
Oh, dang.
I know I'm
But
fired.
if you didn't get the email that has more of this information, please make sure to get onto our email list. You might ask, how do I get on your email list? Go to unmaskedtularecounty.com, our website. That's going to be the easiest way. As soon as you go to that website, there's going to be a little pop-up box that shows up and says, hey, put your information in here to get added to our email list. So as soon as you do that, you will get added and you're going to be able to stay in the know about some of the events that are coming up. But the Freedom Rally on the 19th, that is 2 Saturdays from now. Make sure you plan to be there. It's going to be from 12 to 3 at Zumwalt Park in Tulare. I have a flyer, but been busy doing a bunch of stuff on a Sunday afternoon. I didn't get a chance to get it set to put it up on screen. So that's been shared. It's going to continue to be shared, but please make sure that you can be there. From 12 to 1, it's going to be kind of a potluck hangout style where we'll get to know each other, eat some good food. So if you're coming, plan to bring something to share. We're doing one of those perfect potluck things. Thank you to Crystal for putting that together as well. So there's just a link you can click on and tell us what you're bringing. That way we have an idea of what's going on. One of the greatest things about the rally that we just did, it was our first potluck rally, and we had more food. We could have fed half the county with what was out there. So I applaud you guys for stepping up and just bringing stuff out there and making it a great event. So thank you for that. And just be ready on the 19th. Look at those flyers, share those flyers, get them out everywhere, take them to all your friends. The other thing is, if you guys have other groups, other freedom-minded groups, like patriot groups that are wanting to maybe set up a booth or a table and kind of promote what they do, we're all about that. That's what we want to do, is connect people to causes and groups and things that are going on in the county. So if you're involved in other groups, if you have, like there's we just heard that the Constitutionalists for California, they have a group, I believe, that meets in Kingsburg. They're going to be coming out and setting up a booth, as well as several others who are coming. We've invited Tulare King's Right to Life. We're inviting just any and everybody that we that are like-minded to us that we think may want to participate in something like this. So if you have somebody who or a group or whatever that wants to come out, put them in contact with us so we can get that information. We're not charging anything for booths or anything like that, so they can do it for free and just come out and get word. Now, we don't want, I don't necessarily want the KKK coming out, or people who are opposite of how we view things, but it's a freedom rally and we want to celebrate freedom. Gilbert, I said 12 to 1. Yeah, that's for the food. So 12 to 1 will be the food side of things and the socializing and the hanging out. And then from 1 to 3 will be the program with speakers and the stuff that we're doing. So overall, the event's going to be from noon to 3 on the 19th in Tulare. 12 to 1 will be the potluck, and 1 to 3 will be the program. And
everybody that came to the last one that was at Mooney's Grove, it was a phenomenal turnout. And not only that, like we left the place so clean. Like when we left, like the only thing that the park employees would have had to have done after we left was empty the trash cans. And I even asked him if he wanted me to do that. He was like, no, that's okay. We'll come back and we'll get them, no problem. And so I even asked him, I was like, does everything look okay? Blah, blah, blah. Everything was cleaned up. Everything was back the way it was before we got there. And so huge kudos to everybody that picked up after themselves, and picked up after everybody and did all that. So thank you. Because that's the way we want to leave it. We don't want, we don't want to.
We're not going into anywhere and trash the place, right?
Oh no, absolutely not. It needs to look the way we got there, if not better. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yep.
So because we want these places to, if we host another event there, we want them to be like, oh yeah, like we want them to come. They don't trash it. They don't, oh yeah, I remember when they were here last time, they were super nice and they actually let us eat and we got to sit down and eat with them. And it was so cool. That's what we want.
You bet.
So
absolutely. No, for sure. That's a big important thing is making sure that things are good. And, fortunately we're in a group of people who are like-minded that way. So we all kind of agree and don't want to go in and trash our parks or our communities.
Oh, and also if there's people that kind of want to help out, volunteer with, like helping, like set out the food, making sure like we have enough plates, if more plates need to be set out or if more silverware needs to be set out or, if we need to refill, the ice chest or whatever, get in contact with me, please. We're just looking for some people to kind of help.
Yeah, I think we need probably 10 to 12 volunteers to do everything Marilyn talked about, also working our booth, right? And helping with, because we do a 50-50 raffle. And I know Paul put that in the comments here. We just started doing this 50-50 raffle, but you have to sell tickets, you have to pass out tickets, you have to, it takes a couple of people to handle a 50-50 raffle. And that's just one of the things that we do. And in addition to helping people with finding shirts or sweatshirts or hats or any of the things that we're doing, giving information on the different things that we're doing, none of it's really hard, but it takes bodies and it takes people. And, Marilyn's kind of been the one. We don't like asking for help. That's one of the probably downsides, things we need to get better at. Yeah. But, having a handful of people who are there, designated and ready to help would be great. And so if that's you, if you're going to be there, if you can commit even part of the time, like you don't have to commit the whole time if you wanted to be there. And
well, the more people that we get to volunteer, then
the smaller the little shifts have to be. But we definitely could use 10, 12 people who could help out with various things there. So like Marilyn said, reach out to you.
Yeah. Just send me like a message on Facebook Messenger, or if you have my cell phone number, text me. Don't email me because I won't ever probably get it.
She's not even on the email list. So
no, I did. I just signed up.
Okay, good. That's good.
During our live.
So right on. Okay. So
we're over an hour. Everyone's tired of listening to us.
It's time to go. All right, guys. So the way we've been ending this the last several weeks is in prayer, because we know that it's not just our efforts that are going to get these things done. In fact, our best efforts are not going to get any of this stuff done. We need to be in line with what God is doing. We believe that we are in line with what God is doing. Marilyn and I are constantly, praying for direction, and we appreciate your guys' prayers too. Like we were just talking about our pastor's wife, Marilyn Sunderland, who's in our group. Every time we see her, she's just like, I pray for you guys every day. And we know that when she says that it's true, and we can feel that. And we're so grateful for it, because above everything else, we want to stay in the middle of God's will. Because and this is true in life in general, and I don't mean to be preaching at you guys, but I am. In life in general, like if I try to bend God to my will, it's not going to go up. It's not going to go well. The Bible says that there's a way that seems right to man, but in the end it leads to destruction. But rather what we want to do is bend ourselves to his will. So what I try to do in life is look for what he's doing, look for where he's moving. Side note, I do this in school board meetings too. I listen to what's going on in the school board, and most of the time I'll have my speech written out. I do this at freedom rallies. I try to do this everywhere in life. And I'll have a plan going in of what I want to do, but then a lot of times I'll see that God's doing something different. I'll hear, a theme that's going on in whatever's happening in the room and adjust to whatever he's doing. And that's when it's most impactful. That's when it's most powerful, because I can do my thing. I can plan it the way I want to go. And it's only ever going to be as impactful as my ability to speak or my ability to be smart or whatever. But if I bend myself to what he's doing, then that's when you get to see real impact happen. And that's what we try to do overall as a group. And that's what that's how we try to endeavor through life. So anyway, all that to say, that's why we pray at the end of this, because we're trying to line ourselves up with what he's doing. And it's almost like a reset. On Sunday night, we're going into the new week and we're like, okay, God, I've had my way that I've been doing things and whatever. I need to reset myself and align myself with you. So that's kind of along the lines of how we're going to pray tonight. So I just ask that you join with us as we wrap this thing up in prayer. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for the awesome opportunity and privilege to live in such a time as this. Lord, it's a challenging time. We hear all the time that we are living in the middle of history. And while that could be exciting to think about a little bit, it's hard to live through all of the things that we're living through right now. We know that this is a special moment in history, but that doesn't make it easy. That doesn't make it simple. And with everything going on around us, with all sorts of information flying at us from every direction, every day, like there's no shortage of the bombardment of information that's coming at us. God, the information that we need is the stuff that comes from you. The words that come from you, the wisdom that comes from you, the plan that comes from you, the purpose that comes from you. And Lord, I pray that you would help us to have a God filter when it comes to everything that comes at us, all the information, that it would all run through the filter of what you are doing, not what anybody else is saying, not what this person or that person or anyone's planning, but what you are saying. And Lord, as we are unmasked Tulare County, as we feel like, Lord, I believe that you told us you're giving us this county and asking what we're going to do with it. I believe that with my whole heart. And I just ask that as you give us this county over time, that you would lead us in how to go about taking that, and how to go about doing what needs to be done with it, and how to go about accomplishing your will in this area. So God, I pray that you raise people up for the specific purpose that you have chosen to raise them up. And they don't all have to be the same as me. We all have different ways of doing things, ways of thinking, ways of talents and gifts and resources and all of those things. And God, I just pray that you would work all of those together for the good. For those who are called to run for a school board or a city council, or just start attending PTA meetings or getting involved in their communities. For those who are called to talk to their kids about certain things or become just community leaders in their neighborhoods. For those who are called to give a helping hand behind the scenes and just help make things run better. For those who are called to lead, and for those who are called to work in the background, Lord, all of us working together towards what you have for us. So God, I pray that you would open up the line of communication between us and you, because that's the most important line of communication. Let us filter out the garbage on both sides. It's not just the liberals who are spewing garbage, but there's a lot of conservatives who are spewing garbage as well. Lord, help us to filter those things and to know exactly what it is that you are calling us to do. And God, I pray for courage to step into what you are asking us to do. You're not going to ask us to do comfortable things. You're not going to ask us and challenge us with things that don't require any faith. And so, God, when you are speaking to us and you're saying that I want you to go out and do this, Lord, give us the courage to not dismiss it because it's not something we're comfortable with. Let us do like Marilyn shares with me frequently. I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. Let us take on that heart, saying, you know what, I'm fearful a little bit. My flesh is just saying, no, don't go do this. It's uncomfortable. But you know what? My faith in God is strong enough that I'm going to go do it anyway. Give us that heart. Give us that spirit. Give us that passion. And as we go out, Lord, let us not lose heart. Let us not put all this on the back burner. Let us not get fatigued. Yeah, maybe we need a few days here and there just to reset and recharge. But Lord, let us realize that this is our future that's on the line with all this stuff. And let us just run with passion and with strength that we didn't even know that we had. I pray that you empower everybody who's on this live right now, that you give us the strength to run the way you have designed us to run. And when we stay in your will, when we stay in your path, we're going to find that we have that strength. It's when we get outside of your will that we find that we're weary. And so, God, show us, direct us, lead us, guide us. Let us just stay in communication with you in all things. And I thank you for it. And I thank you for every person. I pray, God, I pray that you bless the finances of everybody on this call right now. Everybody who might be, looking at inflation and looking at just the craziness that's happening in the world. God, give us just a comfort and a knowledge and a knowing that you're going to take care of us, that we don't have to worry about things. I feel like there's somebody or maybe several people who are really looking at finances and they're struggling and they're stressed out and they're anxious. And I feel like God is just saying to you that, he's got you. He protects all the lilies of the field. He dresses them. He loves you so much more than just the flower that's in the middle of the field. And I pray that his love would just comfort you right now as you are going through what you're going through. God, I pray for relationships and broken relationships that need to be mended. I pray that your love would just shine through and would just go into each of these situations where we have broken relationships. God, we need unity. We need unity amongst those who are walking with us. And I just pray that there would be a refusal to be offended by people, and that people would just refuse to be offended. If we refuse to be offended, division can't come in. And so I just pray that would be a thing that would just never even enter into our minds, that we would refuse to be offended at whatever anybody says or does or any of that stuff. So God, I just thank you that you are doing a mighty thing, that you are doing work on the inside of each of us, and that you are doing something collectively in California and in Tulare County. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. And I'm grateful to be standing with this mighty army and group of people. And we know that as we stay in your will and we pursue your goals, that we're going to see your results. And so we're grateful for that. We love you. We thank you. We praise you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Cool. We're good. All right. Guys, thank you for joining us here tonight, Sunday Night Live. We appreciate you more than you know, and we look forward to what comes next. We will catch you all later. You got anything else to say?
No, I don't think so.
You're good?
I'm
Sign
good.
up for that email list, right? So we can stay in contact. All right. Love you guys.
Right.